What if everything you've ever wanted, peace, power, purpose, was hiding behind just one habit you haven't built yet? Not 10, not 20. One powerful choice, done so consistently that it begins to shift not only your routine, but your identity. Let me ask you this. What if your life wasn't broken but simply stuck? Stuck in loops, in patterns, in low standards that no longer match the future you crave. And here's the truth that most never face. If you keep repeating what you're doing right now, you'll keep living the exact life you're living right now. No breakthrough. Just the same. This guy's days over and over again. So I want to invite you to stay with me right now through this entire message, because what you're about to discover isn't just motivation. It's the map. The map that will take you from surviving to building, from drifting to dominating. And it starts with one unshakable habit. The truth behind stuckness. Let's be honest. You've had those nights staring at the ceiling, asking yourself, why am I still here? Why does nothing change? Why does success feel so close, yet so far? And maybe, just maybe, you've started believing it's because you're not talented enough, or consistent enough, or maybe even worthy enough. But I'm here to break that lie. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're not behind. You're simply disconnected from the one thing that builds real momentum. Habit. That's it. Not motivation, not luck, not inspiration, but the discipline of one strong, repeated behavior that rewires the way you see yourself. The power of one habit, because when you choose one habit, when you protect it like your life depends on it, because it does, you start becoming someone new. You stop saying, I want to be better, and you start living like you are. Each time you show up for yourself, when it's hard, when it's cold, when no one's watching, you send a message to your brain. I follow through. That's identity shift. That's how confidence is earned, not imagined. That's how discipline hardens, clarity sharpens, and progress finally sticks. Because transformation isn't about doing everything. It's about doing one thing so well, so often, that it becomes who you are. Comfort is the enemy. Here's the wake-up call. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now. Because 5 years from now, you'll look back on this exact day and say one of two things: I'm glad I started, or I wish I had. The difference isn't your circumstances. It's not your talent. It's not your support system. It's your habits. The small things, the quiet things, the things you think don't matter until they do. The time you wake up, the way you talk to yourself, whether you move your body or stay still, whether you honor your word or keep breaking promises to yourself. These are the things that shape you. These are the invisible architects of your destiny. Habit builds identity. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your habits. That's the law no one teaches, because it isn't sexy. It's not loud. It doesn't sell books, but it works. Every habit is a vote for the person you are becoming. So ask yourself, who are you voting for? Are you casting daily ballots for the version of you who escapes, delays, and doubts? Or are you casting votes for the strong, focused, resilient version of you who shows up and builds even when it's hard? Because habits don't just change behavior, they change identity, and identity determines everything. Consistency over intensity. We live in a world obsessed with quick fixes, crash diets, viral hacks, 7-day transformations. But real change, or real, deep, soul-level transformation, doesn't scream. It whispers. It begins with one quiet promise. And grows through 1,000 silent repetitions. That's where 99% of people fall. They want intensity, but what they need is consistency. Anyone can go hard for a week. Few can show up when it's boring, when it's inconvenient, when it doesn't feel magical. That's where champions are built. That's where your breakthrough lives. Habit equals freedom. Most people think freedom means doing whatever you want. But that's not freedom. That's enslavement to impulse. True freedom is doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. It's moving forward even when doubt is loud. It's staying grounded when emotions try to pull you in every direction. And you earn that freedom one habit at a time. Because habits don't just guide your behavior. They anchor your soul. They say, I've got this, no matter what. And once you have that anchor, the storms can come but they won't move you. Building from within. You've waited long enough for a breakthrough. You've imagined a future version of yourself, stronger, sharper, more aligned. But here's the truth. That future won't arrive until your actions align with it. One habit. That's all it takes to begin. Not to be perfect, but to become powerful. It doesn't matter if the habit is small. What matters is that it's yours. Yours to protect, yours to repeat, yours to live by. Because once something becomes sacred, it becomes non-negotiable. You no longer ask, should I do this? Today, you just do it. Not out of pressure, but out of identity. That's when you stop living by emotion and start living by decision. That's when change becomes who you are, not something you're chasing. Proof, not potential. You don't need more potential. You have it. You've always had it. What you need now is proof. Proof that you can lead yourself, that you can keep a promise especially when it's hard, that you can stay consistent especially when no one is watching, that you can show up even when your mind whispers, skip today. Because real power isn't loud. It doesn't come from motivation or applause. It comes from the quiet moments. When you choose to act anyway, that's where your identity is rebuilt. Not by force, not by pressure, but by trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in your ability to follow through. And every time you complete your habit, that trust grows. Brick by brick, it becomes your new foundation. Reclaiming your power. Look, you're not weak. You've just been giving your power to the wrong things, to moods, to distractions, to comfort. But now you begin reclaiming it. With every repetition of one sacred habit, you take your power back. You no longer ask, am I ready? You say, I'm committed. And that shift changes everything. It's not about being in the mood. It's about being in the mission. The fight between old and new you. There will be resistance. That's guaranteed. You'll hear the old voice in your head, the one that says, just skip it today. It's not a big deal. You'll start tomorrow. But that voice, it's the ghost of your old self, begging for attention. You don't need to fight it. You just need to stop feeding it. Because every time you choose your habit over that voice, you create space. Space between who you were and who you're becoming. And in that space, you begin to breathe, to rise, to lead. You become what you repeat. Your brain is always watching. Not your goals, your habits. It doesn't care what you say you want. It watches what you do. And it builds your identity from that repetition. So every time you follow through, you're not just checking off a task, you're casting a vote. You're building the neural wiring of a new identity. You're saying, this is who I am now. And over time, your mind begins to believe it. That's how transformation happens. Not in the spotlight, but in the quiet rituals no one sees. The myth of readiness. Let's destroy one of the greatest myths that's keeping you stuck. The idea that you need to feel ready. You don't. You never will. Readiness isn't something you wait for. It's something you create by acting. Action brings clarity. Movement brings momentum. And discipline brings freedom. Habit as a compass when everything feels chaotic. When emotions pull you in every direction. When doubt clouds your thinking, let your habit be your compass. Let it ground you, center you, bring you home to yourself. Because when you return to the habit, especially in chaos, you build more than progress. You build peace, and peace is priceless. This is your shift. You've had enough moments of excitement, enough temporary fire that faded into ashes. This time is different. This time, the habit isn't optional. It's a standard. It's who you are. When that switch flips, life doesn't suddenly get easier. You get stronger. And now everything starts to move. Not because you forced the world to change, but because you changed, and the world responded. Discipline as freedom. Let's clear something up. Discipline is not punishment. It's not restriction. It's not suffering. Discipline is permission. Permission to grow. Permission to build. Permission to live in alignment with who you really are. When you commit to one strong habit, you're not limiting yourself. You're freeing yourself. Freeing yourself from the chaos of doubt, from the pull of distraction, from the trap of maybe later. Because now, your actions are no longer random. They are rooted. They are intentional. And in that intention, you gain something most people never experience. Control. Not control of everything around you, but of everything within you. And that's where true power lives. The habit that centers you. What's your one habit? Maybe it's how you start your morning. Maybe it's the way you move your body. Maybe it's 10 minutes of silence before the world begins. It doesn't have to be huge. It has to be yours. Something sacred. Something that, no matter what happens around you, remains untouched. When the world is loud, your habit is quiet. When the day is heavy, your habit is light. When the pressure builds, your habit becomes your anchor. And over time, that one habit begins to reshape your life, not because it changes everything overnight, but because it changes you. Repeated effort equals reinforced identity. Here's the truth that changes everything. You don't have to feel strong to be strong. You just have to act strong consistently. Even when you're tired, even when you're uncertain, even when no one's clapping. That's how identity forms, not through feelings, through repetition. Your brain doesn't remember how you felt. It remembers what you did. And every time you act in alignment with your higher self, you send a signal. This is me now. This is how confidence is built, not by results, but by honoring the process. You aren't broken, you're untrained. You've been told to many times that you need to fix yourself, that you're broken, that something's wrong with you. But you're not broken. You're untrained, undisciplined, disconnected from the power you were born with. That ends now. Because the truth is, you're not missing anything. You've just been scattered, pouring your energy into distractions, giving your attention to everything except your mission. But today, you pull it all together. You return your focus to one thing, one habit, one choice, and in that choice, everything begins to rebuild. The real reward, everyone talks about the results, the money, the body, the lifestyle, but that's not the real reward. The real reward is who you become on the way there. It's waking up one day, not just with different circumstances, but as a different person, more grounded, more focused, more dependable, because the habit you built didn't just shift your day, it shifted your standard. And when your standard rises, so does everything around you. Lead yourself first. Let's be real. Everyone wants to lead others. But if you can't lead yourself, nothing else will ever fall into place. Your focus will drift, your energy will scatter, your life will feel like it's missing something because it is structure, discipline, self-respect. When you become the kind of person who does what they said they would do, especially when it's hard, you become the kind of person who leads without even trying. Your presence changes, your energy shifts. You don't chase influence, you become influence. And it all begins with the habit you refuse to break. You're closer than you think. You might not see the full picture yet. You might still doubt if you're capable. But let me tell you something. You're closer than you think. Closer to the breakthrough. Closer to the identity shift. Closer to the life you've been chasing. Every repetition of your habit is a brick. And every brick is building something no one can take from you. It might still feel slow. It might still feel invisible. But real change isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's sacred. And sometimes it's as simple as showing up one more time. Transition to final act. So here's the challenge. Don't focus on the whole staircase. Just take the next step. Just do the one thing that anchors your identity. And then repeat over and over again until it stops being something you do and starts being someone you are. When the old you whispers, there will be moments when the old you whispers back, moments when the old patterns knock on the door. They will come dressed as comfort, as excuses, as logical reasons to go easy on yourself just this once. But now you recognize the lie. You've seen the cost of inconsistency. You've felt the guilt of breaking promises to yourself. You've watched momentum slip through your fingers because you chose comfort over commitment. Not anymore. You've drawn a new line. And now when that whisper comes, you respond with action, with clarity, with strength, because you've trained yourself to remember you are no longer that version of you. The mirror moment. There's a moment, a quiet, honest moment, when you look in the mirror and realize you no longer recognize the version of yourself that used to quit, the one who started and stopped, the one who broke under pressure, the one who needed perfect conditions to move. That version, gone. Because now you've built someone new, someone grounded in routine, someone trained in follow through, someone who doesn't ask for easy, but demands results. And every time you keep the habit alive, you reinforce that truth. Section 24. The world bends to alignment. You've probably been told that life happens to you, that you have to wait for the perfect timing, for luck, for signs. But the truth is, Life bends for those who live in alignment. When your actions finally match your words, when your behavior finally reflects your vision, when your standards finally become non-negotiable, that's when the world begins to respond. Not because it changed, but because you did. Opportunities arrive, people take notice, and most importantly, you begin to believe again. Why you started, remember why you started. It wasn't just to check a box. It wasn't just to try something new. You started because you were tired. Tired of false starts. Tired of living beneath your potential. Tired of being the one who always talked about change, but never fully stepped into it. This time, you follow through. This time, you become someone even your past self wouldn't recognize, because you've felt the pull of greatness before, and now you're answering it. Section 26. This is your awakening. This is your awakening. Not some loud, external event, but an inner shift, a spiritual recalibration, an emotional realignment. You no longer chase confidence. You live it. You no longer seek purpose. You walk in it. Because the old you reacted, but the new you responds. With structure, with vision, with command. You don't beg for clarity anymore. You earn it. You embody it. You become it. You're not alone if you've made it this far. You need to know something. You are not alone. There are others out there, millions, just like you, waking up to the realization that the change they've been waiting for is them. You're not behind. You're not too late. You're exactly where you're supposed to be, standing at the edge of the life you were born to. Build. One step, one decision, one habit. And when you protect that habit, you protect your future. Transformation is quiet. Then sudden transformation feels invisible until it isn't. It feels like nothing's happening until everything happens all at once. That's what makes the journey so powerful. You keep showing up, keep repeating the habit, keep holding the line, and then one day, you look around and realize you're no longer in the same place. You're no longer the same person. It didn't happen in a flash. It happened through daily decisions, through the hard moments no one saw, through the boring moments you didn't skip, and suddenly, the results become visible. Your power becomes obvious. Your life begins to reflect your choices. You are now the proof. You don't need inspiration anymore. You've become the inspiration. You don't need someone to believe in you. You believe in you. Because now, your habits speak louder than your fears. Your standards speak louder than your circumstances. Your actions speak louder than your past. You've become the proof that consistency changes everything, and the world will feel it. Not because you said something, but because you became something. The habit is now who you are. You've gone from hoping to becoming, from thinking to doing, from waiting to moving. This habit, it's no longer a task. It's a declaration, a message to yourself that says, I do hard things. I keep my word. I move forward no matter what. You no longer flinch. You no longer hesitate. You act, even when it's inconvenient. And that's how you know you've evolved. Because what used to feel heavy now feels necessary. What used to feel impossible now feels like the minimum. This is the new you. You're no longer trying to escape the old you. You've outgrown them. There's no need to fight your past anymore, because you've already stepped into your future. And this version of you doesn't chase motivation. They don't wait for good moods. They move because the mission matters. They lead from within. That's who you are now. Someone who builds. Someone who commands, someone who follows through without needing applause. When the world pushes back, let the world try to distract you. Let the noise rise. Let resistance knock. You already know what to do. You've trained for this. You return to your structure. You return to your standard. You return to your habit. That habit is more than a routine. It's your armor. It's your identity. It's your unshakable foundation. And no matter what chaos comes, your center holds. The final truth. Here's the truth. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to carry you to your potential. And that's not something to fear. That's your greatest power. Because you don't need to be saved. You just need to decide. Decide that your vision is worth more than your comfort. Decide that the old story is over. Decide that the person you want to become is the person you start being today. So here's your moment. Right now, choose your one habit. Claim it, commit to it, guard it, not because it's easy, not because it's exciting, but because you finally believe you are worthy of the life that unlocks. It can be small, it can be quiet, but let it be non-negotiable. One habit, one action, done with intention, repeated without fail. That's your edge, that's your path, that's your transformation. SOFT landing, deep belief. You don't need more inspiration. You don't need another book. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need this one thing to prove to yourself that you won't break the promise again. Start today. Start now. Let your life feel the shift. And when it does, don't celebrate the outcome. Celebrate the decision, because the decision is what made the outcome possible. The life you want, it's not far. It's waiting on the other side of one strong habit. And now you know. Now you've heard the truth. Now it's your turn to prove it with your hands, your mind, your discipline, your heart. So go, build it, repeat it, live it. One strong habit, one unstoppable you.